Australian Open win remains elusive for Alex Eala despite perfect start. Manila, Philippines. A dream start turned into a nightmare end for Alex Eala as she crashed out of the Australian Open. Eala saw her breakthrough main draw appearance in the first Grand Slam of the year conclude swiftly after a stinging 0-6, 6-3, 6-2 loss to American Alicia Parks in the first round in Melbourne Park on Monday, January 19th. Buoyed by a loud Filipino crowd that packed court 6, Eala served a bagel in the opening set but lost steam the rest of the way as the big serving Parks turned the tables to advance past the first round of the Australian Open for the second time in her career. Parks, who was ranked 50 spots below Eala at world number 99, fired 12 aces and 40 winners in a stunning reversal of fortune between two competitors who had contrasting starts to the year. Eala began 2026 in style with a run to the semifinals of the WTA 250 ASB Classic in Auckland, New Zealand, and lifted the Yvonne Goolagong-Collie Trophy in the Kooyong Classic, where she beat Olympic silver medalist Donna Vekic for the second time this month. Meanwhile, Parks entered the Australian Open with hardly any momentum following early exits in the ASB Classic and WTA 250 Hobart International, where she finished with a combined 1-2 record. But Parks proved to be steadier in front of the partisan Filipino crowd as she relied on her serve, which went as fast as 196 kilometers per hour. Even in the final point of the game, Parks, who peaked at world number 40 in 2023, punished Eala with a high-powered serve that resulted in a backhand error for the Filipina. The defeat meant Eala stayed winless as a senior in the Australian Open, as the 20-year-old has now lost in the first round of qualifying in each of the past 3 years. It also marked the fourth straight WTA Tour event where Eala dropped a match after clinching the opening set, similar to her exits from the ASB Classic, the Hong Kong Tennis Open, and the Guangzhou Open. If it is any consolation, Eala's Australian Open elimination opens up the possibility of her playing in her home event, the Philippine Women's Open, scheduled from January 26 to 31st. Eala is a wildcard in the WTA 125 tournament, which will feature fellow top 100 players Vekic, Tatiana Maria, Camila Osorio, Wang Xinyu, Solana Sierra, and Lulu Sun at the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center. While her Australian Open singles campaign is over, Eala still has a chance to go deep in the doubles category as she and Brazilian partner Ingrid Martins face Poland's Magda Linette and Japan's Shuko Ami in the first round on Tuesday, January 20th. Arapla.com. The Melbourne Sun has a way of telling the truth. It exposes every doubt, magnifies every hope, and tests every dream that dares to step onto the blue hard courts of the Australian Open. For Alex Eala, the Sun has often risen kindly. Her starts have been sharp, her footwork light, her strokes clean and confident. Yet, when the dust settles and the crowd drifts away, the ultimate prize remains just out of reach, still waiting, still elusive. Alex Eala's journey at the Australian Open is not one of failure, but of promise. It is the story of a player who consistently announces her arrival with authority, only to be reminded that greatness in tennis is not claimed in beginnings, but in endurance. A perfect start can open doors, but it cannot guarantee what lies beyond them. From the first serve she strikes in Melbourne, Eala plays with the calm of someone who belongs. There is no hesitation in her movement, no fear in her swing. She reads the court well, anticipates angles early, and constructs points with a maturity that belies her age. Eala-round victories often come with a sense of control, decisive holds, timely breaks, and a rhythm that suggests she has solved the puzzle in front of her. Commentators take notice. Fans lean in. Expectations quietly rise. And yet, the Australian Open has a way of shifting its mood. As rounds progress, the opponents grow sharper, the rallies longer, the margins thinner. The same court that once felt welcoming becomes unforgiving. A fraction of hesitation, a slightly late forehand, or a brave but mistimed decision can tilt the balance. For Eala, this is where the tournament has often turned from promise to pause. Not collapse, not defeat in spirit, but a reminder that the final steps toward victory demand more than a perfect start. What makes this elusiveness so compelling is not a lack of talent. On the contrary, Eala's game is built on a strong foundation. Her baseline consistency, intelligent shot selection, and fighting mentality reflect years of disciplined training. She does not shy away from pressure. She engages it. When pushed, she runs harder. When challenged, she responds. But the Australian Open, like all Grand Slams, asks an especially difficult question. Can you do it again, and again, and again, against opponents who are just as determined, just as skilled, and often more experienced? There's also the invisible weight she carries. As one of the brightest tennis hopes from her country, Eala steps onto the court not just for herself, but for those who see their dreams reflected in her swing. Every win sparks celebration. Every loss invites reflection. This weight does not weaken her, but it does add gravity to every moment. At a tournament as prestigious as the Australian Open, that gravity can be felt most strongly in the later rounds, when silence between points grows louder and every decision feels permanent. Still, there is something poetic about her repeated near misses. Each campaign leaves behind lessons etched deeper than any trophy engraving. She learns how to manage momentum shifts, how to recover after a lost set, how to adjust tactics when plan no longer works. These are not lessons that arrive all at once. They accumulate, slowly, like miles on a long road. A perfect start, after all, is not meaningless. It is proof. Proof that she belongs on this stage. Proof that her preparation works. Proof that her ceiling is far higher than the results might currently show. Many players never even experience the confidence of a strong opening at a Grand Slam. Eala does, and repeatedly. That consistency at the start is not an accident. It is a signal. The Australian Open remains elusive because it demands transformation, not just performance. It asks a player to evolve within the tournament itself, to become tougher as fatigue sets in, bolder as pressure tightens, and calmer as stakes rise. Alex Eala is still in the process of that transformation. Each year, each match, she edges closer. One day, the perfect start will not fade into a lesson but extend into a statement. One day, the early dominance will carry through the final points, the final games, the final match. When that day comes, the story of the elusive Australian Open will no longer be about what slipped away, but about what was patiently earned. Until then, Alex Eala keeps walking back onto the court, racket in hand, eyes forward. The sun still rises, the dream still waits, and perfection, as she is learning, is not found at the start, but at the finish.